All right, man, you getting ready to go? You got your notes here for all these injuries?
Yeah, man, I've got it right here. Let me just pull it out real quick.
What is going on, Headliner Nation? Jake and Dr. Ethan Turner back for week 3 now of our injury updates. And Ethan, I joked last week, right? We were talking about how you only have bad news to deliver. And now you have a lot of bad news because I think week 2 may have been one of the worst weeks I can remember in a long time for some major players getting injured.
Yeah, this is probably the first time in my career that I've seen arguably the top two fantasy assets both go down in the same week. It's pretty bad. And honestly, Jake, I think we need to take a quick moment of silence for the fantasy players that we lost for the season this week. Saquon Barkley, we're going to miss you, man. ACL tear, done for the year. Cortland Sutton, my number one wide receiver, done for the year, ACL tear. Paris Campbell, the breakout superstar of week 1, PCL tear, done for the year. Just a quick moment of silence for those guys.
Man, that's tough.
It is tough.
I mean, I will tell the people this, though. We end on a good note today. So just so you know, stick around to the end because we made it a point to end on a good note so Dr. Ethan Turner is not just hated by the entire world.
It's true. Make sure you still leave a like for that good note.
Yeah, we're trying to find the positive. We're doing our best for that positive.
We're going to have to go through a lot of bad notes first.
Yeah, exactly. And we're going to start off with probably one of the worst notes of all. Let's talk about Christian McCaffrey and what should the owners of Christian McCaffrey expect and do?
Christian McCaffrey's got a high ankle sprain. We saw this last year with Saquon. We saw it last year with Alvin Kamara. We had a whole video this offseason about high ankle sprains versus low ankle sprains. This is not ideal at all. You're looking at 4 to 6 weeks. The team doesn't have a ton of incentive to be good this year, so they're going to give him as much time as he needs. We do tend to see that star players like Christian McCaffrey return faster than normal. You're looking at hopefully 4 weeks for your fantasy teams, but just know the Panthers don't really necessarily want to be good this year. So you could be looking at 6 weeks. The team doesn't have a bye week until week 13, which means you're probably looking at subpar CMC for the rest of the fantasy season, which is a bummer. I think that he will return. He will score fantasy points before then, but you hate to see arguably the best player in fantasy go down for multiple weeks. This is just the worst case scenario.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. A lot of people out there going, what do I do now? And it doesn't get much better. We're going to continue to go down this list. What about Julio Jones? Next, Julio had himself a subpar day. Calvin Ridley seems to kind of be taking over there, but now Julio, he's banged up.
Yeah, Julio is dealing with a hamstring strain. He did not practice Wednesday. I think that there's a pretty good chance that he could miss this week. If he plays, obviously you have to keep starting him, but this is going to be another Calvin Ridley week, another Hayden Hurst week, who you really saw benefit from Julio not being at 100% in week 2. Russell Gage, again, kind of a streaming option, a flex guy that could fill in the role here of Julio Jones. I mean, nobody's Julio, but you got to expect him to be less than 100% when they hit the field this week.
Is this kind of similar to what we saw with Mike Evans to start the season, where if he's not 100% full go by the weekend, we're kind of just expecting a decoy if he is out there?
I would say yes. He is one of the better decoys in the league. So even if he only gives them a few snaps, he's gonna basically he's out there to open everything up for the other players. Again, I have a hard time sitting him if he's playing, but don't be surprised if he has a down week.
Got it. What about Davante Adams? Let's just go right down all the studs. Davante Adams up next had himself a huge start to the season. How worried are we about Davante?
So he's also dealing with a hamstring strain. Again, not ideal. We're seeing a lot of soft tissue injuries to start this season. And I'll be honest, I kind of expected this. No preseason games. That's when you normally see these guys pop a hamstring, and then they have 3 or 4 weeks to get better. Well, this year you have no preseason games. That means that they're popping them during games that actually matter for fantasy. So not ideal. Adams is a little bit better off than Julio. He does. This came out as they consider it to be very minor. There's a good chance that he doesn't practice most of this week. He might get a limited practice in on Saturday. If that's the case, I think that there is a good chance that he plays. They are the Sunday night game, though. So if you're worried about Davante Adams, you better make sure you've got some type of backup. You got to have them in your flex because they don't play until basically the very last Sunday night game. And so if you're not ready to replace him and he is a late scratch, you're going to be kicking yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. That's no bueno. What about A.J. Brown? He missed last week, and I saw a few reports going today where he's saying, I'm not going to rush this and come back. What do you think about A.J. Brown?
Yeah, it's not good. Normally players are super optimistic about their injuries. The fact that he's like, yeah, I'm not pushing this, that's not a good sign for him playing in week 3. He hasn't practiced yet. They're saying he's a game time decision. I highly doubt that he plays this week. I think we're looking more likely, we're hoping for a game time decision by week 4. I just don't expect A.J. Brown to push it. He's already said he's not going to push it. So you're going to have to find another alternative. Corey Davis. Jonnu Smith, I think, is a locked-in tight end 1 for as long as A.J. Brown is out. So that's the guy that I'm pivoting to personally, but I also have Jonnu Smith on a lot of my fantasy rosters, so that's a pretty easy shift for me.
Yep, absolutely. What about Jalen Reagor? He just popped up here, late half of this week, and our rookie love child is no bueno either.
Yeah, send a prayer out to my boy Kyle. This one's going to hurt for him. Reagor hasn't been able to get healthy yet this year. This rookie season has not gone according to plan for Jalen Reagor. Now he has a UCL tear in his thumb. The UCL is basically the ligament that sits on the inside of your thumb. He tore that. He's going to have surgery, probably going to miss somewhere in the realm of 6 to 8 weeks. More than likely he's going on IR. This is worst case again for a rookie to come in that had a lot of people hyped up. I was hyped up. Kyle was hyped up. You were hyped up. Everybody at Headliner Nation is hyped up for Jalen Reagor, and it just doesn't look like this is going to be the year. Remember that hype, buy low, and plan for 2021 because I do think Jalen Reagor is going to be good in the NFL. I think he just has to get over this first year, this first hump.
Yep, absolutely. What about Tyrod Taylor? This was something that came out late Sunday, just before the game. Dude got punched or something? What's going on, Ethan?
Yeah, no, he didn't get punched. He had a pneumothorax, which is basically just a punctured lung, which is actually worse than getting punched. Probably better off if he got punched. A very odd story here. You're going to see a lot of headlines about this, but basically the team's doctor was trying to do a steroid injection for a broken rib that Tyrod has been playing with. And essentially, this is I won't say it's a common issue, but in about 1% to 2% of these steroid injections to the ribs, you can actually miss the rib, hit the lung, and you make a very small hole. It's a very small needle, but it will actually decompress the lung and puncture it. And that's exactly what happened to Tyrod Taylor. Incredibly odd injury. Average return to play kind of varies. Research says 2 to 10 weeks, but the average time is about 3 to 4. Given how well Justin Herbert played, I don't really know if there's going to be a role for Tyrod to come back to. I really do worry that this is an opening and Herbert's going to be just good enough. He has the draft capital that Tyrod is just not going to ever be a starting quarterback for this team again this season.
He starts the first couple of weeks and just lets the rookies take over. It's kind of like his MO at this point.
I think on Wikipedia, he is the picture for the bridge quarterback to the rookie. I don't know that for sure, but if he's not, he should be.
Perfect. All right. Well, those are the big guys, but we have a lot of names to go through, and we don't want an hour-long video of negativity here. So a lot of people liked last week how we went a little bit rapid fire. So I got a list of names here. We're going to rapid fire through them and just give me your initial thoughts on these guys. You ready?
Let's go.
DJ Chark.
DJ's dealing with a rib contusion. He was limited in practice on Monday and Tuesday and then downgraded to he didn't practice on Wednesday. Not looking good for tonight. He does play on Thursday. That's not ideal. If official reports drop at 6:50 that he doesn't play, make sure you pull him out of that lineup. Biggest benefactors, Laviska Shenault, Tyler Eifert. If he doesn't play, those two guys should be able to have a field day. The Dolphins are not they're having some issues on the injury side with their cornerbacks right now. So this could be a game where, Shenault really breaks out.
Perfect. What about Zach Moss?
Zach Moss is dealing with a toe injury, possibly turf toe, but I haven't seen that officially reported yet. He doesn't get a practice in by Friday. Expect him to miss this week. If he is out, Devin Singletary moves into that solid RB2, somebody that you can feel pretty confident starting. And in most leagues, you might have to start him anyway because of how many big-name guys are out now.
Yep, absolutely. What about Jimmy Garoppolo?
Jimmy G, dealing with an ankle sprain, not ideal, likely out this week, but there should be some type of positively going that this isn't going to be a long-term issue. I expect him to miss this week, possibly be back by week 4.
What about his teammate, Raheem Mostert, who was killing it last week, by the way, before he went out?
Absolutely killing it. This one hurts my fantasy teams a lot because I was big on Mostert this year. He's dealing with an MCL sprain. Didn't practice on Wednesday. I actually don't expect him to be back this week either. Jerick McKinnon, dude, he is going to be the guy. He is arguably one of the, I would say, the most locked in running backs as far as volume goes this week.
Should we just stay in San Francisco since they're all hurt? What about Tevin Coleman?
Yeah, Tevin Coleman also dealing with an MCL injury. This is a complete tear, though. They placed him on short-term IR. We're not going to see him back for a while. Definitely going to see Mostert first, but Coleman, he's going to be out. This looks like something we're talking about 4 to 6 weeks. And who knows if he has a role to come back to. If McKinnon's balling, if Mostert comes back and is balling, you might not see Tevin Coleman again. I would say he's probably droppable in most leagues.
Perfect. What about the only fantasy asset for the Jets, Jamison Crowder?
Crowder, he's dealing with a hamstring strain. This was kind of a later injury last week. He is not running yet. And so while the team is confident that he might be able to play, we can't 100% rule him out because of that. But again, the fact that he's not running, it's Wednesday. I don't expect him to be back this week, which means you basically avoid the Jets like the plague. I don't expect any of them to be good.
No, I don't think anybody does at this point. I just realized I missed a 49er. I mean, what was I thinking? What about George Kittle? I mean, is George Kittle coming back? Do we have some good news possibly?
Potentially a little baby good news here. George Kittle dealing with that hyperextended knee and MCL sprain, basically like all the running backs. He did miss week 2, but is trending towards returning this week. The team could be cautious with him. The only reason I say that is that team got absolutely destroyed by injuries. We don't talk about defensive players, but they lost a Bosa to ACL tear. That is not going to be ideal. They could be cautious with Kittle just because they don't want this team this season to go completely downhill and be irreversibly impacted by these injuries. They might be a little bit more cautious.
Yep, absolutely. Not to say they don't have anything to play for yet, but they're on the verge of having replacement players or some dude out in the parking lot that's sweeping it, play tight end at some point. It's a little rough.
Yeah, if Kittle does miss, Jordan Reed was effective last week. So again, if Kittle gets ruled out, Jordan Reed could slide in very, very efficiently. So I would say he would be in that low end tight end 1 if that were the case.
All right, what about our boy here, Jack motherfucking Doyle of the Indianapolis Colts? I mean, come on, Jack. Give us something, Jack.
I got nothing for you, man. He's dealing with a knee sprain. He didn't practice. I don't expect him to play. That makes Mo Alley, Thundercat Cox, another startable week for him. He is just like a straight up bowling ball, man. He is so big. Nobody can tackle him. It's really fun to watch. Again, I expect Mo Alley Cox to get a chance to once again show us why he is just one of the biggest dudes on the planet. He just looks so big when he's catching.
Yeah, he's like abnormally large out
he's
there.
He's huge.
All right. What about Kenny Golladay?
This is it, Jake. This is what the people were waiting for. A small glimmer in a week of total darkness. We should get Kenny Golladay back this week, baby. Woo!
Hey, baby!
Finally, some good news here. Kenny Golladay on track to return from his hamstring strain. I've just jinxed him, which means he might not play. I'm kidding, of course. I do expect him to play, and if he plays, I think you got to start him. We want Kenny Golladay to be healthy. We talked about it last week, and I think we're finally there. The team took my advice, gave him an extra week to rest, and hopefully that means we have a perfectly healthy Kenny Golladay for the rest of the season.
Perfect. Well, we just went through about 15 names. Is there anybody else that you wanted to add to this list, Ethan, or we pretty much cover all of them?
Yeah, I might be dealing with some carpal tunnel. My head hurts a little bit from just trying to keep track of all this stuff for you. If by some chance more people get added to this injury list, or if you have someone that maybe we didn't bring up, make sure you comment below. Let me know. I do my best to give you guys updates that are pinned to the top. So this is a video that you should be coming back to multiple times, looking for those updates. I try to get that information out to you as fast as you can. But of course, Jake, the best way to get a hold of me is to join our Patreon, because I got my own channel. Everyone's hitting me with questions. Jake tried to leave an injury update. I kicked him out. Not acceptable.
Facts.
You miss so much if you are not part of that Patreon. So if you want direct access to me all day, every day, you got to join the Patreon.
Yeah, absolutely. It's all through Discord, and I'm sorry, I will never enter the Dr. Ethan update channel again. I will just leave it be and just let you have it.
I would expect nothing less from you, Jake.
Awesome. Well, like Ethan said, there's going to be a pinned comment on this video. As more updates throughout the week come in, come back and check that pinned comment. It's going to continue to update throughout the week, so you have those updates. But like he said, if there's other people you want to hear about, leave them down below. We'll do our best to get you guys covered and get you the most information possible. I'm sure I'll be touching base with Ethan Friday night, Saturday morning before our live show to get whatever updates I can also, so we can relay them to you guys there. But it was a horrible week for injuries in week 2. We got to stay looking positive, and hopefully, because everybody got hurt week 2, nobody really gets hurt week 3. Because I don't know if our rosters can take much more of this, Ethan. The waiver wire show next week may be like 6 hours long if we have another week like this.
Yeah, I'm going to need a raise if we have another week like this. I
can't have another week like this.
Jake can't afford another week like
no,
that.
I can't afford another week like this. Yeah, this is bad. But no, hopefully you guys enjoy this type of video. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. We're over 100,000 now. Hit the like button also. If you enjoy the content you get from Dr. Ethan, we greatly appreciate the support. We look forward to seeing you here this weekend on our live show. Have a good one. We'll talk to you later.